Columbians with disabilities could have a new transportation option in the future. Good evening, I'm Katie Link.
And I'm Jim Rick. Thanks for joining us today. Columbia's Disabilities Commission began discussing how to make taxis accessible for people who use wheelchairs. KOMU8's Chris Gothner is live in Columbia to tell us what was said and what a taxi owner would like to see.
Jim and Katie, it's pretty common for people here in downtown Columbia to hail a cab, but Disabilities Commission members say there's one group who can't. That's folks who use wheelchairs. They say access to a wheelchair-accessible taxi would give people with disabilities the flexibility to travel when public transit services aren't running. But accessible taxis, well, they can be pricey. Hailing a cab can be a pretty simple task for most of us. But for people who use wheelchairs in Columbia, it's an impossibility.
There's not a single one in the city of Columbia, and we have a lot of people with that need.
Columbia's Disabilities Commission wants to change that because the current transit system isn't enough.
When Como Connect is not running in the evenings, and paratransit isn't, or on Sundays, people with disabilities that can't ride in a regular taxi have absolutely no way of getting around this community.
Graham says accessible taxis would keep people like his brother, who uses a scooter and can't drive, from having to do things like take an ambulance to get non-emergency medical care.
A paratransit requires 24-hour advance notice. So if he gets a stomach ache in the morning and needs to go to the doctor, he's got to wait 24 hours or call an ambulance.
But accessible taxis aren't cheap.
Looking at 60 to 70 grand just to get the wheelchair van, and you're gonna have it 3 or 4 years before you even turn a profit with,
Nickerson says he's wanted to add accessible taxis to his fleet for a while. He says government grants and subsidies, which in some cities help taxi companies afford the cabs, would make this a reality.
If there was some kind of way that we could get a grant or something, the government subsidize it or something, we would buy 2 tomorrow.
Graham says these discussions are still pretty early on, but those subsidies and grants could be on the table in the future. Commissioners also talked about coming up with ways to make Uber and private campus housing shuttles accessible. Reporting live in Columbia, Chris Gothner, KOMU8 News.